So I am reading The Aesthetics of Resistance by Peter Weiss. I just finished the first part of Volume One, and so I thought I'd give a couple little tidbits, little reading updates. I did not know that much about this book before I started reading it. I knew kind of just enough, and the correct people had told me that, or had talked about it, or had told me that it was really good. One of the big things one of the big takeaways is that this isn't like a typical novel and that the fictional elements aren't really there. Like they're barely there, but mostly it's like a memoir or social history, political history, discussions about literature and art. And it's kind of a novel more of discourse right now than it is events. I'm expecting that will change because the main character has just gone to Spain for the Spanish Civil War. But that's my first note. Number two, there are a lot of names of German socialists and communists that I do not recognize. I mean, I knew I had a cursory understanding of the interwar German years, but I got a cursory understanding of the German interwar years. So the glossary helps at the back. I found that very helpful, but there is almost this very fluent familiarity that the narrative has with its historical context that can feel a little bit like you're jumping into the deep end. It reminds me of like when I first started reading The Public Burning by Robert Coover or um, Gabriel Garcia Marquez's The General in His Labyrinth. There is just like a closeness and familiarity with events, and they're being related all kind of out of order. Um, it's not too hard. Again, there's a helpful glossary, but that's been kind of the big, I would say, um, barrier for me so far in reading that. Number three, I am also reading Milton Myers' They Thought They Were Free. Since this is a much more straightforward journalistic account, this kind of tracks conversations that Meyer had with, I think he calls them little Nazis, just people in a small town that were all Nazi Party members for just kind of various reasons during the war. And so he gets to know them and talks to them and becomes their friend and starts to kind of understand their society of how did the person who wasn't necessarily a dyed in the wool Nazi, how did they kind of get along and to rationalize all this to them. Final thought is that I'm definitely getting the other two volumes of this. I got this volume at Pilsen Community Books in Chicago. So if you're ever in Chicago, I highly recommend that bookstore. I think they're 100% employee owned and just good selection. Stay tuned for more.